Good morning, everybody. Esteemed guest of honor, Professor Maraskau, uh, Chancellor, Madam Dr. Manjushri Bhandari, Founder, Chairman, Sir Dr. Vinod Bhandari, Dean Students Welfare, uh, Dean, Sames Medical College, uh, professors, students, uh, and all the dignitaries who are there here on and off the dais. It's a very I would say emotional moment for all of us because this was a dream to establish a world class training institute of minimal access surgery, which I put into my heart and soul around 15 years back when I was at one of the IRCAD institutes, and I brought this dream to India. And I said, I explained to my father that this was the institute where I went, where for the first time in my life, I saw that the operating rooms which we are supposed to operate, the operating rooms there or the training stations there are much better than the operating rooms we are operating at present in India. For the first time in my life, I used a harmonic scalpel. For the first time in my life, I could fire stapling devices, use different medical devices on a live animal model, and it was like a Disneyland because we never thought that training could be made so easy. I passed from one of the very high volume government medical college, so we always used to practice our surgical skill on patients, uh, and we were never taught, that this kind of model could exist to train the postgraduates. So I was, the correct word would be flabbergasted, and I came to India with that dream, and I said my dad that we're going to have something like this here. So the first response was that uh, explain me exactly what you have seen, and I explained to him with photographs and videos. Uh, I thought that he would ridicule my idea and would say that just like you get excited like a small child every time, think about the practical situation of having this in India with such a costly infrastructure and things which are not even available for the patients at this point of time. That was 2009. But it was completely opposite. My dad said, let's do it. That was the only thing he said at that time. And I was surprised because normally when you come with a very radical idea to your parents, like my daughter comes to me with a radical idea, I have that habit of ridiculing her or her idea and put it into a trash bin. But my father always gauges the enthusiasm of the person who is approaching him. He doesn't care about money or resources or what. I don't know whether all of you know him. Some of the people would know him better. But what uh, people who have a progressive thought and who are self made, they have this innate ability to gauge the enthusiasm, honesty, and commitment of any individual. So, tomorrow, if you come to him with an idea which is radical, completely impractical, but which has the strength of your enthusiasm and commitment, believe me, he is going to say yes. And at that time, he said yes. And we talked to Carl Stores, and I don't know whether there are people who helped us here in the faculty members, but Carl Stores, and that time we bought 15 stations and started the animal lab. Within around, I think, a period of 10 to 15 days, an area which had 5 pillars in the hall was made completely pillarless. And we combined 3 halls to make a big lab. And we did the first IIGS course at that time for laparoscopic surgery. And then things started. Keep on adding these specialities. Uh, at that time, in 2009, I wrote an email to Professor Maraskau. I still have that mail. I'll share it with all of you. That I want to start IRCAD in India. And his first response was, and I got a reply to my email within, I think, 24 hours. Normally, for a person as big and as huge as him, people don't even see their emails. They don't reply. They are very non-courteous. But I got a reply and he said, Mohit, at this point of time, we are thinking about starting in Taiwan. And I think Barreto's came. I don't know whether Barret, but he said, no, this is not the right time for us. We do not want to start a mirror institute without full commitment and the quality which IRCAD Strasbourg delivers. And the dream ended there. I never thought about that idea again, and we gave the name to that lab as LASER, Laparoscopy Academy of Surgical Education and Research. My very good friend and my wife, both of them, three of us, we started to develop that lab, and we made several courses, and we run that lab, and then it started happening then. Uh, but then again, this idea kept on moving in my mind every time I went to IRCAD, either as a faculty or either as, even as somebody who wanted to learn something new. The place was like a Disneyland to me of the surgical and the medical world. Uh, Unbelievable, because what we see there is something which you would have not even thought about. Uh, Cutting edge research into anything you point out, and you see Professor Merescal sitting here. I don't know his exact age, but he is at least 20 years ahead of us and 50 years younger than us. So, that's how I define him. And 20 years ahead means people, we see our professors, they said, why you do this lap cholecystectomy? Do it open, give big incisions. Big incisions means big surgeons. And they used to say that the thing which we see in open, you can't see in laparoscopy. And I saw most of my professors not adopting to laparoscopy so early. But we see Professor Merescal way back in 1990s, when the world was not even adopting to laparoscopy, was sitting in Strasbourg and operating upon a patient who was in United States of America. And that's known as the Strasbourg phenomenon. So, that's the kind of person we have here. My dream got reignited with one another person who is on the stage today. He is my mentor, my teacher, my friend, my philosopher, my guide, Professor Manuel Galvao Neto, and he's there on the stage. We always call him the genie, because I tell him that you do this and he delivers it to me within 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and sometimes even late. So I told him, I want to learn this. Okay, delivered. I want to go and get this surgical technology here in India. Okay, delivered. And every time I come up with a very brave idea, or you can say again, impractical idea, Manuel says yes, and my dad is always there to support me legally, ethically, take permissions from Government of India, and So every month I come up with a crazy idea, and I have such wonderful mentor and parents to support me. And that's the reason, you always gain that energy to do new things, enter into newer areas. And so I told Manuel, we established bariatric surgery on the world map. We were the ones who did the first endoscopic bariatric surgery in India and in Asia. We were the first ones to start robotic duodenal switch in India. We were the first ones to start scarless bariatric surgery in India. And now we were the first one to bring the Allurion program to India. Why can't we be the first one to bring IRCAD to India? And he said, okay, I note that. Let me think about it. And the next day, he writes a message to his close friend Silvana that I want to talk to Dr. Merescal. I can directly talk to him. Do you think it's the right time for us to start in India? And she gave a thumbs up, and then he started communicating with Professor Merescal. And, 2020, when it was peak COVID, we had a Zoom call. And that was it. And I think he got impressed by what Dr. Mohit Bhandari and Dr. Manjushri Bhandari has done, coming from a very humble background to this. And believe me, it's not that only one Indian family approached Professor Merescal for IRCAD. There were people more powerful, more financially strong than us who approached Professor Merescal to come with an IRCAD in India. But I think it is that enthusiasm, that zeal, that commitment, and that honesty like a child to do the impossible, which I inherit as genes with my parents, with my great parents, that I think could convince him. I don't know why he got convinced, but that could convince him to give an IRCAD in India. I know a lot of people who are sitting here would not know what it is. I'm extending an invite from the side of Professor Merescal. If you are there in France, go and visit Strasbourg. It's in the campus of University of Strasbourg, the IRCAD Digestive Surgery Institute. Go and visit it. It will change the way you think about medical science, teaching, training, and academics. I'm not going to say more. Thank you very much, Professor Merescal, for finding me valuable enough to add to IRCAD Mirror Institute. Thank you, Manuel, and thank you to my parents, staff, teachers for their blessings. That now this dream is coming true today. Thank you very much.